Hey everyone, Alpha Frame here. I wanted to go over Frederick versus Patton in a more in-depth perspective. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong or if you disagree, etc. This is just my perspective, and I feel that I have a very good logical backing of it to explain to people and why I would use these sets in different situations. So to be more specific now, let's talk in a Warzone perspective and on Frederick versus Patton. So for Frederick, you're going to be condensing all of your damage in a 4-second window. This effect is specific to the enemy that you've dodged, to my knowledge. And when you activate it, they pretty much take 15% more damage for 4 seconds. So during this 4 seconds, you want to have all your stacks built up due to the previous set effect where it'll give you up to 15% more damage. So once you have all those stacks built, in this 4-second window, you want to be sword waving already and bursting down the enemy. And you can already tell that in comparison to Patton, since it's enemy specific, this is already a downside to having Frederick. Not to mention that this is an 8-second cooldown, and you're going to have to be kind of preserving your dodges and calculating in your head when this effect is going to come back up. Because if not, your sword waves are going to take a huge hit in damage potential, and that could really screw you over when it comes to making it to the next wave. So in comparison to Patton, where it just straight up gives you critical rate physical damage up, and it pretty much has an effect that'll help you crit some more and do more damage, I can see why Patton is already off the instantly better than Frederick in a Warzone perspective. I'll let you guys read the effect on your own, alright? I don't really want to go over and read that, but I do want to explain that the major key difference here is that with Frederick, you are condensing all of your damage, while Patton, you can pretty much do your thing almost all the time. It's not very stack reliant as Frederick is, and you can pretty much sword waves, dodging, and pretty much DPSing the way that you would like to. And the issue with Frederick is that you become reluctant to dodge, because the moment you actually dodge an enemy's attack, you're gonna proc the set maybe at not an optimal time. Maybe it's just like a trash mob instead of like the boss, or having them grouped all together yet you're not ready, and so that's gonna destroy your damage window. In comparison to Patton, where maybe you can afford to throw out a sword wave or two, or maybe you're just trying to kill the next enemy and you want to animation cancel normal attack with alpha, and maybe you don't want to do that as Frederick because you don't want to put yourself in a bad position. So another thing I wanted to touch on is that with Frederick, you'll have more evades burned up at a given time compared to Patton, because with Patton you can just enter matrix, group the mobs, sword wave, go. But if you are with Frederick, you'll have to enter matrix, group mobs, and then do 2 more dodges in order to do your proper damage window. And I'll show you right now how this works and why it's probably not as great. So, take a look at this. Enter matrix. Alright. Enter sword wave, dodge forward. That's 3 dodges. So, as you can see, I pretty much entered matrix, alright, and then I entered sword wave, but at the same time I entered sword wave, I animation canceled it and went forward. And by doing that, I have all 3 stacks ready to go and burst, alright. That's the most optimal fast way you could do it. But by doing so, I've already burned 2 out of the 5 evades I have, and it's more likely that I'm not gonna have 5 to start with. So that's something that is very notable when discussing Frederick versus Patton. So a few more things that I have is that with Frederick versus Patton in Warzone perspective, with Frederick, you are relying on much more RNG than Patton, because Patton already helps your RNG to crit some more. And with Frederick, especially if you're not running good resonance, you're going to be critting so much less, and you're going to have to be redoing Warzone runs way more, because you're just relying on crits in order to kill very tanky enemies as you get farther in the Warzone. In early Warzone waves, the Frederick and Patton difference is very negligible, barely matters. If you know what you're doing, you'll be good. But as you get to the really tanky waves, that's where you start to see the big difference of am I gonna get to stage 9 or am I gonna be staying in stage 8? Because you're gonna hope for crits. You're gonna start hoping for crits, or you need that consistency where you can't just kill one mob and call it good. And this is why Patton is great, because this effect is not reliant on one mob like Frederick. And that pretty much concludes my thoughts on Warzone. In terms of Pain Cage, where everything is way more RNG reliant anyway, Frederick would be the way to go, because you will not be able to one-shot a boss with Patton unless you have incredible crit rate and just literally crit every hit, and you have triple S plus alpha, etc. But if you're using Frederick for Pain Cage, it provides such a huge damage boost that you might be able to 1-combo, 2-combo a boss. So it's a very defining difference when it comes to Pain Cage. But in terms of Warzone, in all realisticness, I'd say it makes maybe like a 20-30k point difference depending on how you play, who you are, of course, so give or take a few. But just note that I highly recommend that you go Patton for Warzone, and it's just a great set overall that can be shared with a lot of people in comparison to Frederick. And another thing is that Frederick is pretty much dog shit for Babel. I'm not even gonna lie. It's because especially when you start doing the harder difficulties and they start taking away your evades, you're not gonna want to be trying to build up Fred stacks and then just get one-shotted for a simple mistake, or if a mob just pokes you. That's another way that Patton really shines. That shines as in its universal capability compared to Frederick, where I think I only would really use Frederick inside Pain Cage or any place that has a heavy amount of bosses. But thanks for listening to me ramble, guys. I hope that you guys took something away from this. Thanks for watching.